Welcome everybody to this first session in the afternoon. We are going to have the Ruby BoF, Ruby team BoF now, presented by Lucas Kanashiro.
Thank you very much, everyone. Sorry for being a bit late. So today we are going to run our annually Ruby team BoF and discuss some topics related to our team, some statistics, what we are planning to do, and what we, as a part of the Ruby team, what we want to do in the near future, our roadmap. So I will start here with some statistics that I grabbed from the Team Metrics project. Thanks, Andreas Tille, for generating these statistics for us. We do this every year, so let's try to not spend too much time here. So this is showing the list activities for the Ruby team mailing list. So as we noticed last year, you can see here in the end. So in 2022, we are reducing our activity in our mailing list. I don't know how exactly to explain that, but I think we are interacting more on IRC than using mailing lists. We are using that just to notify people about some more general stuff. But I don't think we don't need to act on this anyways, just to make you aware that we could be using that more than we are doing. The next one is the number of bugs that we have been closing. The bugs were filed against packages maintained by the Ruby team. Here in 2022, we have, you can see here in the end, we have, let me try to increase this size. Yes, I think that's too much, I can't scroll that much. But you can see here in 2022 that we have been closing bugs, but we don't have that many anymore. I believe most of them are FTPFSs because of the transitions that we have been doing. We did the Ruby 3.0 transition, and now we are planning to...
Yeah, we finished the transition last year, so there was nothing much to fix this year. But since we are starting a new transition now, then there's going to be quite some bugs to work on.
I don't see many bugs filed against our package, apart from the ones that we have. Those related to transitions, I haven't seen many being reported, so that's something. The next thing that we have here is commit stats. So commits on Salsa. Again, this is reduced. I don't know if this can tell us that we have less people contributing to our team that we used to have in the past. I don't know. Because as you can see, most of the statistics here are presenting lower numbers in the recent years. Maybe that's something, maybe we need more people to join our team.
Can we blame it on COVID? I don't know.
I don't know. But yeah, that's something. Another thing, maintainers per package. So here I think we are good. Most of our packages are maintained by more than 3 people, I think. We have 200 maybe, packages maintained by 1 or 2 people. So we don't have a bottleneck when we need to update something. In general, we don't care much. We do team uploads, so not necessarily need to be on the uploaders list.
Do you know if this data has a time window, or is that all entries in the change log, or the last 10, or what?
I think this is just it's filtering in our packages the uploaders field.
Okay.
So I think this is pretty good. We don't need to care too much about this in general. Yeah, so number of uploads, same thing here. It's a trend, as you can see. The numbers are getting low, and as you can see, Praveen is doing many uploads here, and that's it. I don't know if there's many things to analyze here apart from that. So the final one is the WNPP, so data. So we have a number of new packages that we created under our umbrella. So as you can see, this is pretty low. We are not creating new packets. Actually, we are removing them from the archive because we are not. There is a bunch of packages that are unmaintained, and we don't have the time to interact with upstream and fix stuff when we do transitions. So I think we are removing packages instead of creating new ones in general, which is good for our team because we don't have many people to help us. We do maintain almost 1,500 packages, and that's too much for our team. Okay, so that was the statistics. I don't know if anyone has any comments regarding those. It's just to remember us about this data.
Yeah, I think it's useful that we keep an eye on those charts, because if 2022 goes by and those bars are still very low, then we have to do something about it. Because, well, when we have a lot of bugs, then we'll see if we'll have people fixing them or people go away, but then...
Yeah, sure.
I think it's useful to review those every year.
Yeah, that's what we have been doing, but I think we should try to... I want to talk to Andres if we can generate those graphs using a small time window.
Yes.
Because we are analyzing the...
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to consider data from 10 years ago.
Yes,
it's just you have to have a sliding window.
Yeah,
of,
so
I don't
that's
know.
something that we should try to work with Andres to see if we can improve. Okay, so those were the general statistics that we review every year. The first topic that we have here that Antonio mentioned when I called for topics in our agenda was regarding Ruby 3.1 transition. So I don't know if you want to comment about this.
I can. So we have already. You already have Ruby 3.1 in the archive. It has some bugs that need to be fixed for it to get to testing, but it's still not enabled for building packages yet. So the idea is to start with that pretty soon, since the Ubuntu freeze happens by the end of August, and well, next week is mostly already August, so we are going to wait to not give extra work for Kanashiro on the Ubuntu side, but then after that we are going to start the transition. Yeah, there is a link to the Ruby change log there. We started rebuilding the reverse dependencies during DebConf a few days ago. And can you go back to the...
Yes.
Yeah. And it's a reasonably low number of failures. It's not only 33, as we had that there before, because those 33 were only on the architecture-dependent packages, and now we also triggered rebuilding the architecture-independent packages, and there is some number of failures there. But for instance, on those 33 in the first batch, probably half of them were actually problems with Gem2Deb. So those were fixed centrally in Gem2Deb, and then we don't need to fix every individual package. And I suspect we didn't have time to publish yet the next round of rebuilds with these 1,300 packages that are architecture all. I think some of the failures there are also things we need to fix in Gem2Deb. So we are looking at probably maybe between 50 and 100 bugs, real bugs that need to be fixed on individual packages. And a lot of those are probably fixed with a new upstream version. And yes, yeah, this one that's mentioned here about Psych, which is the YAML implementation from Ruby not being able to instantiate classes. It's a security thing. And that's fixed. That's the one we fixed in Gem2Deb. So that's good to go, and we'll probably have the full list of bugs before the end of DebConf. we'll publish the missing bugs as soon as possible, and I'll process the logs to report the bugs. By the way, a fun fact, the tools we use to report bugs are written in Ruby by Lucas Kanashiro. And I sent some patches, but it's a really cool script that you can process a very large number of bugs in a reasonably small amount of time. And those are really useful.
Yeah, I do believe that we should create an action item here that we do document all of those things in a wiki page, maybe. Because Antonio and I have been doing all those rebuilds. We do have some scripts that we use to do that, but everything is in our head, so it's not well documented. And if someone else needs to do that, they will have some bad time, I believe. So I think that's an action item for us. Is it working? The mic?
Can you?
Hello? Hello?
I think it worked now?
It's not coming, right? Hello?
Yep.
Hello? Hello?
Try again.
Yes,
Hello?
hello? Can you hear me?
Is there a mute
Just
button?
a moment. But you see it going on. It just doesn't go to the room. Yeah? Can you hear me, Sophia? Yeah? It doesn't go to the room, but it goes to the stream.
Ah, okay.
Okay,
Fair
if it
enough.
goes
Fair
to-
enough. Okay.
Yeah, if it's going to stream, you can hear it.
Hello? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Jeremy, he did some rebuilds for Node.js using the Salsa CI thing. So maybe we can look at that if that works. But then we will have to probably use our own runner because the Salsa, the default one, they don't want to use for rebuilds, mass rebuilds and stuff like that.
Yeah. I was discussing this with Paul earlier. Several teams are doing the same thing, and each team has their own thing to do it in their own different way, different tools, and it's probably a waste of everyone's time to have so many ways of doing it. And the JS team does it one way, the Perl team does it in another way, the Python team does it in another way, we do it in another way, and we are mostly doing the same thing, which is rebuilding several packages and then processing the logs later. So it's probably going to take a bit more of work to do that, but then it's probably useful to maybe start that conversation so that we don't duplicate this work.
Ideally, we should have, I don't know, a SaaS service that we can share with all the Debian developers that you can just upload there and it rebuilds everything. People were trying to do that with Red, the Golang tool. Do you know that?
Yeah, there's that as well. So
That, I think if we have something like that, we wouldn't need to have our own scripts to do all of those things. But yeah, this is the current state, so to keep doing the way that we are doing, we need to document this better. And of course, once we have all those bugs, we'll send an email to the mailing list, sending a call for help, right, to ask people to see can fix those bugs and get this done as soon as we can to get this ready for the next Debian release. Anything else about this?
no, I don't think so. Yeah, so in the end, we are going to release Bookworm with Ruby 3.1 because Ruby 3.2 comes out in Christmas as every year, but that's too late for a freeze in January, so we are releasing with Ruby 3.1. And yeah, the next topic is
New Gen
So some new things we got on Gem2Deb 2.0, which I uploaded yesterday. So we now have cross-building support, so you can do cross-builds automatically with Gem2Deb, provided the package itself is not broken in other ways, but the cross-building should just work.
The extension build as well? Like some...
Yes, the extension build as well. So you can just, I tested with Ruby SQLite 3, and I can provide, I can build a Ruby SQLite 3 for any architecture, and it just works. So it's in place.
Helmut said that he had some...
Get the microphone.
The mic.
Helmut said that he had some more comments for the patches, but I'm not sure like if you had...
Actually, I talked to him and he said that what we have is more than he was expecting.
Okay.
He thought that this is good enough.
Okay.
I talked to him last night.
So I was talking to him last night as well, and we've decided to work on, once we rebuild those things and everything, once he submit those bugs, if it fails to cross-build, if the Ruby packages, I will work with him to get those things fixed, either upstream or downstream, whatever.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And we'll definitely need to make many changes. You change many packages if you want to, because we needed to apply some changes, right, to Ruby SQL, especially the Ruby build depends.
Yes.
So cross-building itself works, but then you have to figure out the build dependencies to optimize bootstrapping, for instance.
Yes.
So it's annotating the build dependencies with no check,
Yes.
no
Build
doc,
profiles.
and stuff like that, yes.
Yes.
But the cross-building itself should work.
Okay. So I've one quick thing. Is it more like a, or is it just downstream issue? So build profile is generally downstream, right? But
Yes.
in your opinion, have you seen like more upstream issues?
Not yet,
It's just on our
because
side.
most of the code is generated by from rbconfig.rb data, and as long as you load the right configuration data for the host architecture, it works. At least in the package I tried, it just works, because very few Ruby packages that with C extensions have hard-coded makefiles or stuff like that. So those who use the standard build infrastructure should just work. So going forward, so I also added a patch that I was working on for some time, which is to get Gem2Deb to use the Deb helper compatibility level. So now we can make changes to Gem2Deb that don't break the existing packages. So for instance, the first feature I implemented using that was something we are discussing with Praveen about the fact that so far, Gem2Deb used to do the build, the test, and the installation in the install target. So DH auto install would run build, install, and test. And that makes it impossible for us to intercept the build between those steps. So if you need to change something after the build but before the test, you couldn't do that. And now we can, because they are running separate targets, but that's only enabled for packages with Deb helper compatibility level 14 or higher. So it means we can now make this type of change without breaking all the other packages, and I think that's a good thing to have, and we'll be able to experiment more. Like several times we discussed changes that we needed, but then we realized, well, if we change this, then we break everything, and then it's going to be a mess. And now we can do these changes in a more secure way and be able to experiment more. And for instance, the Deb helper 14 is still in experimental stage, so you cannot even use it officially for the archive yet. So we can play as much as we want with this feature. Yeah, that's mostly what I had for Gem2Deb. We'll probably need a new release soon to fix the other bugs we found with Ruby 3.1, and then that's going to solve most of the issues we have, and then what's going to be left is fixing each individual package. But yes, so that's most of what I had for this point. Unless you want to discuss Gem2Deb further, then we can move ahead.
Yeah, don't know if you have any feature requests in the mailing list. No, it was just this.
Well, we have a bunch of feature requests on the BTS.
Yeah, I see.
We just have to get around to work on them.
I mean, something.
Yeah.
I mean, something blocking people from doing. We don't have that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but now with this infrastructure, it's easier because we can add new features in a way that we are sure that they are not going to break the existing packages. So it's now easier to add new features and make even behavior changes. This change here that I did is a very big behavior change, but it only affects packages where that explicitly opt into it by using DebHelper 14.
Cool. Great. Yes, so we can move to the next item that we have here, which is...
Praveen, do you want to take over the next point?
Yeah, which is this one, that Praveen...
Yeah, about the GitLab thing, right? Yeah. Yeah, so for, I think, last 6 years or something, GitLab was sponsoring the work for maintaining the GitLab package. I used to package all the Ruby dependencies for GitLab as separate Debian package, and then now recently GitLab has stopped funding this work, so probably I wouldn't be able to spend as much time as I used to maintain these packages. So all the packages were the newer versions are there. Probably I would do a gem install in the post inst. But that I already do that for Node, so probably I'll start doing it for Ruby also. There was one Ruby package, I think GraphQL, which I couldn't update because of it added so many other Node dependencies. So I was already doing this gem install for GraphQL, but then probably I would start doing it for more dependencies.
But that's for GitLab, right? For GitLab? Or
yeah, for GitLab. And I think if bundler can do that automatically, that would be nice, but then I've requested an upstream issue. It's a new feature. Currently, it's if you have a package that is, for example, say RE2 1.2, and the gem file says ~1.2, the version in Debian actually matches, but currently what bundler does is if there is a new version available upstream, it tries to prefer that and then try to build the extensions and stuff like that. So if that feature comes in bundler directly, it would become much easier to do this kind of stuff.
Okay. And but you are still maintaining GitLab itself on fast track and unstable at least?
That's what I think.
Okay.
And do you think that this will impact any key packages for our team?
Rails.
Yeah.
Rails.
Any key package that...
Rails.
Yeah, I see. Yes.
There is Rails. There is Rails. And also the other thing that I wanted to bring up was that security team was not happy that we are not probably doing a good thing with Rails. Not the thread in the past, but they reached out that even when we do upstream releases, we are not checking the bugs we are fixing, and so we should be careful. So we need to do that, and also there's I generally do the PU updates or security updates in stable, LTS, wherever, but in case I miss out or something, I mean, we need someone to look at these issues, especially Rails and Ruby, because these are bigger packages than just small libraries.
Okay. And what do you think that we can do to help you? I don't know if we can do something to help this.
What do you have contact with people who are using the GitLab packages?
Yeah, so one good thing is at least one of the GitLab users, they started updating some Ruby gems. I think in the last two releases, they have a VV221 is a nick. They started helping with the updates. And also, many users are now getting involved, fixing bugs and things like that. So
Yeah, yeah. I think you should try to reach out to them, try to get them to know, and even if they don't want to help, maybe they can fund the work.
yeah,
Like GitLab itself did at some point. So
yeah. So yeah, I have an open collective open, but then yeah, that's
well, we need to get the right people to know it exists.
yeah, yes. It's shared in the GitLab wiki and GitLab IRC channels, but yeah,
Okay.
maybe. Yeah, it's opencollective.com/Debian-GitLab. So
Okay. Can we move this point from Utkarsh to the top, because I think this is important. I'll just move it, those ones. And I want us to be mindful of the time. It's already 2:30. We started 5 minutes late, so I guess we can go 5 minutes over the official ending time, but we should try to not spend too much time on each topic, but start discussions that we can improve, follow up later, yes.
Okay. Okay, so Utkarsh, do you want to tell us about Rubocop packaging?
Yes. So 2 years ago, me and Tercero, I was a GSOC student, and we worked on this library called Rubocop packaging, which basically is kind of a linter, which basically goes through, and not really a linter, but it goes through basically the problems that we generally face for Ruby packages, which are very common. For example, Git in the gem spec, or using require with relative paths and things like that, right? So I wrote four checks that would fix most of the issues, which was the project that I was working on. And so the good thing is that now I don't even push things upstream, but like more than 1,000 packages in GitHub repositories, 1,000 upstream projects have already started using it on their own. I just keep going through random commits of people, and they are using it. It's getting well known. The stat shows that it has over 565,000 downloads. Which is good as well. I mean, most of the time it's CI, but like given that there are now 1,000 repositories which are pulling in Rubocop packaging, so that should also that is good. And yeah, those are the things that I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
There's a very large number of reverse dependencies.
Yes, and so Rails also use it. Rails is also using Rubocop packaging, because of which other projects have also started using. So
cool.
This is there.
Nice.
And yeah,
This is really good. Do you have the... Okay.
Yeah, so congratulations. It's really great work, and yeah, I'm happy we did that project. Sorry, because this is one like success story of upstream interaction. Like we put the work in, we wrote the tool, and Utkarsh started sending pull requests to people to get them to use Rubocop packaging, sending patches to fix the issues, and then the thing just got on fire, and everyone is using it now. So it's really nice.
somebody even wanted to give me $20 for the work, but I just said thank you instead. So we did earn $20 in a way.
Cool.
Could be beer money.
Thanks for your work, man. Yeah, so the other topics here is those were just general topics, so I don't know if...
Do you want to move sprints up?
Yeah.
Before we close up the microphone?
Okay, yeah. Utkarsh said that we should move the
procedural
sprint topic
comments.
to the top. So
Yeah.
let's do this because I don't know if you run out of time soon. So yeah. So next sprint.
So I've asked Cedric on IRC like right now if he can host the sprints if you don't have other people who want to volunteer, and he says he can in Paris like last time. So that is good. When to do it is up for discussion and other things. But Cedric said that he can host it.
Right.
Yeah.
Should we do it in January? Like or February with the FOSDEM thing?
Well, if there is an in-person FOSDEM, then probably we want to do it together with FOSDEM because it's better for everyone. But yeah, I think we should try to do it if possible, unless the world goes upside down again. But
Do we know
I hope
when,
we are able to do it.
when is the feature freeze or something for the next release?
The freeze is by end of January. The transition freeze is in January,
12th
something.
of January.
12th of January. So we would be fixing things from
Yeah, that's a good goal. Great goal to
a
have.
good period.
Like a bugs question party for us. Let's see if we can. Okay, 10 minutes. Okay, so we can. Do you want to follow up on the mailing list about this? We
Sure.
start a discussion there, and then we can
Okay.
keep the
Sounds
conversation there. Cool.
So the TLDR is we are having sprints. I mean, more or less. If everything goes well, we are having sprints likely in Paris because
Yeah,
Cedric.
let's just check those dates.
Yes.
The release
So, yeah.
dates.
I'm taking note here, so our initial targets beginning of 2023 with FOSDEM if FOSDEM happens, together with FOSDEM if FOSDEM happens.
Or like a week before,
Oh,
whatever
yeah, well,
overlaps with the.
Adjacent to FOSDEM, either the week before or the week after or
Yeah.
something. Well, yeah, assuming we still do in Paris because it's more or less the geographic center.
Yes.
But yes, okay.
Yeah, so we have something. Okay. I think we already talked about tooling. It was more Gen2 Deb, so I think we don't need to
Fair enough.
talk anything about it. In sponsoring work, I added here because I've seen a bunch of new people asking for sponsoring our mailings, and I don't know if the current process, the current way that we are doing things, it's okay for most of them if we want to change that. But I also don't know if we want to discuss this here right now.
Yeah.
I think, Utkarsh, Praveen, you have been doing more sponsoring, right? More sponsors.
The quick question that I have is how is it working with the new whole mentors subdirectory or whatever this thing attic or no, it's not the attic, it's the other thing, right? Where we have to ask people to create the project and then we move it. And so is it working well? I just think sometimes that it is extra overhead and I try to avoid it. If I know somebody, I just create them because I just don't want to keep moving things around and around. But if it's working well, maybe I can just adapt to it.
No, I think if people are not in touch with an existing developer, then maybe they can just create under mentors. If they know already someone, and they can create, that also works directly under Ruby team.
Right. Yeah, I think after the first package, we can just add the person directly to the team and let them create the new repository. It's fine. I'm not sure if having to create that extra step in the first package is useful or not, but
Daniel really wanted to do it, so like Daniel and Praveen are mostly doing that part, but for me it's just the extra step that I really don't want to do, like create a package and then move it from there to the main thing. And so, I mean, I'm not doing it honestly, but I also don't do a lot of sponsoring, mostly Praveen and I think Daniel do, so it's mostly their call, I think.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Like people are able to create directly, so we don't have to create. Like they can create, and we just have to move when it is ready. So.
Okay, so
yeah, I mean, moving one repository is not a big problem. So as long as they know that the Debian control fields needs to point to the final destination that doesn't exist yet, then it should not be a problem.
Okay, so let's keep the way it is right now, for now. No one complained, I just wanted to raise it here just to make sure everything's fine. So I think the next topic will be the goals for the next release. So we already mentioned that we want to ship Ruby 3.1. I don't know if we want to make any change to Rails or something, some important package that it would require more work.
Do we have pending Rails releases?
Yes.
Is Rails 7 out?
But we have to still catch up. I am wondering, like maybe November is when maybe we can push to the newest release, so that we can have, like, for instance, we have 6.1.4 in the archive, but there's 6.1.6.1, and likely there's going to be another release.
So we have 6.1.4 in the archive now.
6.1.6.1 is upstream.
And 6.1.6.
Oh, we have Rails 7 on July 12th. 7031.
I think no package is already moved to Rails 7, so probably, I don't know, should we do it now until I think at least one of the moves.
But do we
to
want
7.
to push for Rails 7? If we start doing it now, there's enough time to fix whatever is broken. If we wait, then we won't be able to. I guess GitLab doesn't support Rails 7 yet.
Yeah, like
Yeah, Redmine.
OBS.
Redmine is going to take forever to
Yes.
support Rails 7.
We
Well,
could,
OBS is broken. We shouldn't keep maintaining that.
Yeah,
no
I
one's
think-
interested. That's it.
Is it Andrew who is handling OBS?
No,
I am. I was
it's
handling
Andrew
OBS. I
Lee,
was the
and then
last
he
one.
stopped, and then Kanashiro.
Yes.
Right, but someone was saying that they wanted to drop the
They did
server site. It was Andrew.
Yes.
Yes. Get a microphone, please.
So currently at the moment there's no one in Debian maintaining OBS because Untitled, who was a collaborator of us, he did the maintenance, but there was so much work to do, so many lot of gems, and then they pinned them on specific versions that didn't match those we had, and it was such a painful job to do, so that at the end we switched to upstream sources and what's it called, Bundler and other things, and Docker. So we stopped using Debian packages, and at the moment I don't know of any OBS users of packages in Debian because they just don't work. The front end doesn't work, the back end it's in Perl, so it's different. So yeah, the plan at the moment is to drop the front end at least, maybe also the back end because it doesn't make sense on its own, and only have the rest of infrastructure bits like the builder package and the, what's it called, the worker.
Right.
Because it just that doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah, please do that. I'll be happy to have OBS disappearing from my list of reverse dependencies.
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't think we should go for Rails 7, but I would wait till November to see how things are, and then move to the newest or the latest 6.1 release. At this point, it looks like it is 6.1.6. So this also helps in maintaining PU uploads or security uploads for stable releases. And so, yeah, I will try to move this to the latest one, but 6.1, not 7. Unless we really need 7.
Yeah, fair enough, makes sense.
Okay. So I think this is done, right? This part.
Do we have any other, well, Ruby and Rails are
Yeah,
mostly
just,
the things that we need
comment,
to
like, yeah,
give
so-
most attention, right?
Like I do for GitLab, I think one other option is to have, use as much dependencies from Debian and, whatever we can't manage is do the gem install. Like it's like not either or. Like if you go to complete Docker thing, probably you move away from all the shared things that Debian packages. So if someone wants to do it that way, it would probably be less work maintaining the libraries, but still we get to use the common things, maybe Ruby, Postgres, and stuff like that from Debian.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So I think we will not have time to take a briefly look at those bugs. I think Antonio mentioned that, right? No, it was.
Yeah, there's a bunch of JavaScript related bugs.
Yeah, so I think we can keep discussing that. Do you want to send an email to the mailing list with that, or do you want to?
Not particularly, no, I think.
Yes. Yeah, we are wrapping up already. Thanks. So we are done here. And
Yeah, I
we
think
can
so.
keep discussing, follow up all those topics on the mailing list, on IRC, or in person. So that was it. Thank you everyone for participating and joining the, enjoying the